Hey y'all, welcome to Faithfully Bound. In this video, I would like to retire my prayer journal. Don't forget to like and subscribe. My beautiful prayer journal that has been with me on this channel for 3 whole years. Yes, 3 years. Look at how full it is. I have packed this with extra paper, sticky notes, stickers, all of the things. And I cannot close it. I was looking at it, trying to think if there was a way that I could close it, and I decided to cut the strings in the very back and take out the last 2 little sections of paper. You see how they are sewn in with this twine-like yarn? So the theory is to cut it and pull the pages out so that I can reuse that paper and not make any waste, but make a little bit extra room in my prayer journal so that it can be closed and retired. It makes me sad. I love this journal. I love it. It was a gift from my husband. It is made of real leather and it has a cross on the front. I love it. So I cut the strings, I took the pages out, and then I tied what I could so that it wouldn't go back through the holes. And then I took just simple Elmer's glue and put it down that strip to help hold them in place and give it a little bit extra reinforcement. And then I go back in on top of that and I put some tape. I really want to make sure that the strings don't fall out. And I think I accomplished that pretty well. It closes a little bit better. It's not perfect. It is not going to clasp, but it has become smaller, taking out those last 2 sections of paper. And I went on the outside and put Elmer's glue across the strings here and in the holes that I took them out of to make sure that those strings did not move. Now for the tedious and fun part. I have some leather-like material that I just eyeball and cut to the size that I want so that it has a little bit of extra room on the top, the bottom, the side. And I'm going to cut this extra piece off, but I'm not going to throw that away. I am going to use this. I'm trying to waste as little as absolutely possible. I don't think that this material quite covers the book the way that I want because it doesn't have any extra room around the sides. So I'm going to cut this to the same size and I'm going to fold it in half and I'm going to use this as the binding so that I can extend the book just a little bit more. I decided to hand sew it and I realized that that was a really hard and really long process and this needle and thread was just too small. So through the magic of editing and a sewing machine, it is magically sewn. See the stitching and how close it is? That was definitely a sewing machine. Now it is time to sew the paper sections into the notebook. I drew a line down the center just so I could know where the center is exactly as I was sewing these pages. I did sew these by hand. I used my Cricut tool to poke holes in the faux leather and align those holes with the holes that are already in the paper. I hand sewed these and it was a little bit more difficult than I thought because in my head it went one way and then in reality it went a different way. So it took a little time and I recommend that if you do this, maybe do some trials first. And it's funny to me because I used to hand sew books like this. When I was a kid, I learned how to do this in art class, and then I would make my own books. I would fold the paper in half, poke holes in it, and then sew them together, and then I would make a book. But for some reason, it wasn't working out the way that it was supposed to. Also, pulling the yarn through the holes was a little bit more difficult. I should have used a crochet tool to pull those through. So if you're going to do this, grab a crochet needle because it has a hook on the end and you can pull it through more easily. So I highly recommend doing that. I tried to put a little clasp on. I used this bead and some yarn to wrap around it. I went through this process, I did this whole thing, and then I ended up taking it off and doing something different because I didn't like the way it turned out. I still don't like the way it turned out, even though I redid it. So I am going to do some brainstorming and try to figure out what to do. I would like a button, but I got to go through my buttons and see if I can find a big enough one. But I will show you a picture at the end of how everything turned out. But this is what I did when I first did it. I was trying to do the old-fashioned wraparound type closure. But the pages are sewn in. It is a whole notebook. I'm excited to use it, and I hope that you guys stick around so that we can make our first entry together. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope to see you next time. Bye, y'all.